Hey there everybody, this is IapetusHadou. Gonna do a let's play of one of my favorite games of all time. Can you guess? It's on Sega CD. 1993. There's Sonic. Here it comes, here it comes. Sega! It's like Sonic Spinball without the tornado biplane coming by. Oh yeah, it's Sonic CD. One of the greatest games of all time. One of the best Sonic games ever. And we're here to commemorate Sonic CD's 17th birthday. Now, I know I'm a little bit late, but, you know, life got in the way and I had stuff I had to do. But I had to find time to do this. So here we go, the full motion video of Sonic CD. Sonic's running fast, stars behind him. Aw, man. Oh, he's going loop-de-loops around trees. He's so awesome. Don't fall behind. Don't be late. Nation heaven. Pretty awesome rap soundtrack here. Oh, he's dodging the rocks and stuff, and then he gets on the thing, he looks over and says, oh man, I can do this. And he's like, bam! Totally awesome. But yeah, I'm using the Japanese version of the game. Actually, it's the US beta, which has the Japanese soundtrack, but don't worry. November 17th, actually I think it's 19th, is when the US version of Sonic CD came out. I'll be doing a Let's Play then too. So you soundtrack junkies, don't worry, I got you covered, if you're actually interested in this sort of thing. Oh, here we go. It's so awesome. He's on top of the thing and he looks at the little planet. He's like, oh, I gotta save it, gotta do something about it. Why is there a chain? Oh man, it's Eggman, or Robotnik. Some people are kind of finicky about if you call him Robotnik or Eggman. They're kind of the same. Japan, it's always been Eggman. People feel they got gypped because it's supposed to be Robotnik, but whatever. I grew up with Robotnik, but I'm cool with whatever. Alright. He just lurches over and just runs up the chain. How awesome is that? It's pretty badass. Should make that my wallpaper. Alright, so before we get into the game, I'm going to let the gameplay footage play in the background and talk about this game a little bit. So as I said, this game came out on September 23rd, 1993, and was directed by Naoto Oshima, who is the actual creator of Sonic the Hedgehog. A lot of people don't understand that because they hear the name Yuji Naka a lot. Yuji Naka was the main programmer of Sonic 1, and kinda had a heavy hand in Sonic 2, Sonic 3, and Sonic & Knuckles. And the reason why that was that there was a pay dispute between Yuji Naka and Sega Corporate in Japan that he left to go to Sega Technical Institute in America with some aspiring American programmers, with a fellow Sonic Team member who I'm forgetting his name, but he was there. So you have 2 members of Sonic Team. I think perhaps it was 3 members, but whatever. 3 or so members of Sonic Team, and the rest were kind of left in Japan. Kind of divided Sonic Team pretty well. So what you had is Sonic 2 came out, and it was a huge success. And Sonic CD, it may or may not have been, you know, trying to be a port of Sonic 2 at one point. Some reports say that Sonic 2 was actually supposed to have time travel like Sonic CD. It's all up in the air really, but Sonic CD ended up being a completely different game than Sonic 2. And incorporated a pretty cool soundtrack. 2 soundtracks actually. We'll get into that a little bit later, but really cool gameplay, time travel, a very ambitious game, and kind of became sort of a rare gem because not a lot of people got to appreciate this game. You had to have a Sega CD in order to play it, and Sega CDs, when they first came out, were about $300, which is kind of ridiculous for an add-on to a console you already own. Let's see, can I think of anything else kind of like that? Oh, that's right! Microsoft's Kinect and PlayStation 3's Move. Yeah, so if you're thinking about getting one of those, you might want to think again. But hey, what if they have a great Sonic gem that comes out in the PlayStation Move or, you know, Kinect? Might have to get it. Anyway, so this game, despite the fact that it takes place after 2, borrows very little from 2 and actually has a lot more to do with Sonic 1. Not in terms of story or anything, but just the fact that the gameplay feels a lot more like 1. It looks a bit more like 1, and just feels more like 1. More of an even branch. And here we have a water level, and you have one of my favorite bosses in the game, where Robotnik covers himself in bubbles, and you gotta uncover the bubbles. Pretty awesome. The bosses in this game are really ingenious. They're really intuitive and awesome. They're really simple at a point because they don't take as many hits. Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles, almost all bosses take 8 hits or so. This only take between 1 and 4, so depending on which boss you're playing. But they're all really interesting and different. There's another special stage here, psychedelic. Sonic's taking crack these days. He's on drugs. But yeah. What else can I say before we get going? I guess after this I'll show off the time attack mode. So the game has like 70 different levels, and you're like, whoa, that's crazy. Well, the way it gets away with that is Sonic CD actually has 7 or so rounds, and they're called rounds now, and the acts are now called zones. So you have 7 zones, 3 acts each, but the first 2 zones of each of those rounds have 4 different time periods. You have the past, the present, the good future, and the bad future, depending upon whether or not you got the time stones, or if you destroyed one of the machines in the past that creates the bad future. So you got about 70 zones, 70 different levels to play with, and the fact is you don't have to play through all of it if you don't want to. You can skip through most of it, but if you want the most enjoyment, you're going to want to play through all of it and enjoy it. Which I think is one of the best design choices in this game, is that nothing's really forced upon you. And here we go, Sonic's gimmick in Metallic Madness Zone 2 is that he can shrink just like Mario. And as you can tell, it's using the Continue sprite from Sonic 1 and 2, which is, again, a very cool feature. Totally awesome. I also like how when he rolls up into a ball and jumps, he's actually smaller than when he's standing. Kind of funny. And not just like a little smaller, like really smaller, like a bead. But whatever, it's totally cool. Metallic Madness is actually the last round in the entire game. So, pretty awesome round too, in my opinion, but whatever. Alright, so let's show off some stuff. Okay, press start. We have a new game. Continue. You can only save 1 game on a Sega CD, but if you have the Gems collection, you can save like 5 or 6. Time attack and RAM data. We'll go to time attack. Just show it off a little bit. So, as you've probably guessed, with all of the 70 levels that you have to play with in this game, the game's pretty exploration based. But the game also makes room for speed. And here we have time attack, where you want to get the fastest speed on every single zone. You can choose Zone 1, Zone 2, and Zone 3, which is primarily the boss battle. Doing so unlocks some cool stuff, like you can play through the special stages in time attack mode. You also get a cool attract mode where you get to listen to the soundtrack on top of the background of Little Planet rolling around with Tails, flying on his biplane, and Metal Sonic going around and flickies everywhere. It's a really cool idea. I mean, a lot of it might be lost in our generation because we're like, whatever, but again, for a CD-based game, that's pretty cool.